Should we use the same technique for leading different types of literature? It seems as if poetry might require a different approach than, say, nonfiction.
You're right. There are differences, and as leaders, we need to adapt to the demands of each genre, whether it's poetry, fiction, drama, or nonfiction. Let's start with fiction, usually a novel or a short story.
Well, we know that because it's fiction, it's not literally true, so I'm guessing we should use a lot of interpretive questions.
Yes, there's almost always an issue, a conflict, or a significant chain of events, and these are all great opportunities for interpretation.
So how do we go about doing that?
You might consider starting with clusters of questions about each major character. If they undergo a change, you'll want to include a question about how and why the change happened. What point about human nature is the author making? Are there any tragic figures or heroes in the story? Also, you might look for repetitions of key words.
Speaking of key words, poetry is full of them. Nearly every word in a poem is significant and has been chosen very carefully by the poet. So how are we supposed to interpret a poem?
Take it slowly. Have someone read the poem aloud before you discuss it, and notice how it makes you feel, because most poetry is about emotions. Look for key words, of course, but also rhythms, alliterations, unusual usages, and images that the poet is painting with words. And don't forget the title. That's often a big clue as to what the poem is about.
Leading a play must be a special challenge. In a novel, you can have many paragraphs explaining what a character is thinking or feeling, but in a play, we only have what the characters actually say and do.
Right. A play is all about characters. That's why it's a good practice to read sections aloud, and as you read, try to imagine what the mood is and what the characters look like. You might ask how they react to each other, why we're more sympathetic to one than to another, who is the catalyst for action, and what motivates each one to do what they do.
That brings us to nonfiction, usually in the form of essays, memoirs, journals, or documents. How can you have a productive discussion about these fact-based writings?
Nonfiction is about issues and ideas, so you need to understand the author's terms and follow his arguments. You might ask about the problem being presented and what the point of view is. Is the premise accurate? Are there inconsistencies in the argument? Are the analogies valid? Was the author persuasive and successful in conveying his idea or plan?
So, I guess you're saying that with a little practice and some adjustments, anyone can successfully lead a great books discussion using shared inquiry, whether the selection is in the category of poetry, fiction, drama, or nonfiction.
You've got it.